All right, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes.
Game Club.
Oh, yes.
Each week we play a chapter or a segment or a timed interval of a video game, and then we talk about it.
Yes.
And of course, right now we are playing Plague Tale Requiem.
Requiem? Is that how you pronounce it?
Yes, I have decreed that is.
Wow. Okay.
Requiem. We are currently on chapter 11.
Yes, we are.
And it is called The Cradle of Centuries.
Yes, it is. This chapter, no fighting.
Yeah, zero fighting. It's all puzzles and rats.
You can barely call them puzzles.
Yeah.
They're just annoying, basically. I did learn something in this chapter by accident about how the game plays. So that was kind of interesting. And it's kind of like, oh, could I have used this before and maybe solve some of my complaints? So I won't say what I was discovered till we get later, but as I did it, I was like, wow, I wonder if this would have made the earlier chapters a lot more palatable. So when we get to the part I did it, I will tell you what I did. All right,
sounds good.
So
we had just come out of the fortress.
Yes.
And we're now back into the festival area,
where
which has been
dead.
Completely taken over by rats. Yes.
How did these rats get here?
I don't know.
Is there an underground tunnel from the mainland to the island?
Probably. They just come underground.
Or the rats were just chilling. I guess there's probably...
the rats are just chilling.
Later we know.
We find out the rats are just chilling. Yeah,
they're here. They just were like, I don't know, waiting for something.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's just rats everywhere, and we have to get our way through. And this involves a lot of like Sophia using her gem to make a light for us to walk through.
Yeah. So this first puzzle, you're by that one shed that you get to go into before, and there's a brazier burning on a cart.
Yeah.
And so you have to like shoot an arrow down to a thing, use Sophia to get down there, and then shoot a grappling hook back and pull the cart.
Yeah.
Because it's got a big block in front of
there's
it,
a log in front
you
of
could
it,
definitely have lifted. But for gameplay's sake, we won't worry about that.
Yeah.
And so that cart rolls down, and then I was assuming you have to push the cart. So I get on the cart, and I'm just sitting there. I'm like, okay, well, it's not moving. So I'm going to go ahead and see what else I can do. I'm like looking around, like, well, all the lights are very far away.
Yeah.
I can't seem to progress. What the hell?
Uh-huh.
Why can't I push this cart? And I'm like, oh, I can't push the cart because Sophia won't attach herself to the cart because I can't push the cart without Sophia.
She wouldn't grab it?
She wouldn't grab it.
Why not?
I don't know.
Just a glitch?
Just a glitch. So I grabbed it from another side, and she eventually got her way out from wherever she was stuck and grabbed it.
Oh, that's a pain.
Yeah. So throughout the entire chapter, Sophia was constantly getting stuck when I needed her to do shit.
Really?
Yes.
That must be a PC problem, because
it could be.
She was not stuck for me on...
she just got stuck on everything.
On console.
I would be like, hey, can you do your gem thing over here? She's like, no.
No.
Like the prompt wouldn't even come up.
Really?
So I would have to like do the gem thing on the light source that was right next to me and walk backwards to the next
I
light
did
source.
that a few times, and then I would switch to it when I got to the closer to the next one. But she never really gave me that much trouble, thankfully.
Oh God, what a pain.
Yeah.
There was a couple parts where I'm like, what am I supposed to do? I'm like, oh, Sophia's not doing what she needs to do, so I can't do it.
Again, there was a few things too they did in this that I didn't like, where I don't know, maybe you can get back in that shed where you're talking about what the card is, but like I don't know if you can. I don't think you can, because like
I don't think you can either.
I died and I like restarted and I was like looking. I'm like, I don't see the ladder anymore, so I don't think you can. But like, why did they put the prompt for you to try the door?
Right?
Because that immediately gave me like, oh, I must be able to get back in here.
Yeah.
So then I did a whole thing where I tried to walk around to the back. There is a little treasure back there that you can get, but it was like, why would they do that? So stupid.
Yeah.
Anyways, this whole thing, you push the cart. You light a few fires, you use the gem, you get up into the map room, which is where we went to initially. And it's kind of like, oh, well, where do we have to go from here? It's like, well, let's just knock this fucking pillar over and see if it breaks the floor. And it does. And it was like, I think that if you would like walk heavy on that, it would have broken.
Oh, yeah. It wasn't that, wasn't that thick.
Yeah. Anyways, we descend down into like the bowels of this temple, basically.
Yeah, it's a huge temple, and there's apparently Greek fire, barrels of Greek fire just chilling.
So when she's like, oh, that's some Greek fire, and I was like, well, wait a minute, Greek fire. I was like, when did this game take place? Like, they don't know how to make Greek fire anymore. They don't even know what Greek fire is. So afterwards I Googled it, and it's like, okay, she might have known what Greek fire is, because it was only like maybe 200 to 300 years before that when they stopped, the record of Greek fire stopped of being used. So maybe she would have known about it, but like, I think she would have been like, holy fuck, Greek fire. Like, this is worth like a lot of money. We need to figure out how to do it. But
no, we're just going to go ahead and blow these barrels up.
So she puts it next to the door and we blast it. Yeah,
she puts it, she goes, picks it up, this huge like barrel of Greek fire, puts it next to the door, and she's like, there you go.
Yeah, just
like,
blow it up.
Okay.
Yeah.
How did you do that?
She's fucking jacked, man.
How in the hell did you pick that? And it's a copper tank. Yeah. Like, it's made out of copper.
But it had like a wax lid on it or something like that.
And it's just full of Greek fire.
The other thing too is like, I don't think Greek fire would I think it would just burn. Like, it's not explosive. It's like napalm basically. Anyway, whatever. It's a video game. Like,
it's a video game. It's a 20-gallon barrel of Greek fire in a copper enclosure. It's fine.
So we get to, I think the first thing we get to is a puzzle room where there's these locks on the door where we have to move these big ass bolts.
There's a bunch of little Greek fire puzzles.
I guess
and stuff.
Yeah, we get through like,
and then we get to like the rat infested.
The room,
big room where we have to like push a bunch of carts, get through.
So with that one, I went down off to the side and I found a little side room where there's like
a map,
designs and shit like
designs that. It had the designs for the castle in the first game where you had all those moving braziers to and that's where your home base is.
So, and then I was like, how the fuck do I get out of here now? So then I like climbed up and died, and then it was like, oh, I have a quick save that is down here as well.
Yep.
So I was like, what the fuck do I have to do to get out of here? It thankfully didn't take long, and I was like, okay, if I fire an arrow up here, I can climb up a flaming arrow. But I was just like, oh my god, like, what if I didn't have an arrow down here or something?
Yeah, you'd be screwed. If you didn't have an arrow or a pot, that's it. You're done.
So thankfully I got out of there.
You're restarting the entire level.
But that thing was just like, move the little things around till you can blow up the barrel to blow up the blockage to get through.
Yeah.
Nothing too crazy in there.
These braziers were on track, so you couldn't like push them wherever. It had to follow a track.
If it was like an actual puzzle, I mean, whatever. But this was like just a time waster.
Yeah.
To be like, oh, you have to work your way through here. It was not challenging, really.
No, it was, here, have some additional gameplay.
Yeah, so I collected all the shit in there. And in this chapter, I finally got enough parts to fully upgrade the crossbow. So now I can retrieve my arrows.
Yep,
so
I got mine up there too.
I'm going to be murdering people. So then after there, we get to the room with the...
Yeah, and this room where you push the braziers is huge. Like, it's like a giant cavern with like a huge bridge. Yeah, it was a really cool set piece. And you get to the bridge and you go across, and this is where the last battle that Ayla had to get to what's his face?
I thought for sure that what's her name was going to take her helmet.
Or armor or something.
Just the helmet was so like ornately designed. I was like, oh, obviously she's going to be wearing that. But no, she just left it behind. So
I can't remember what the guy's name is. The carrier, the first carrier.
Yeah, I can't remember either.
But yeah, Ayla's there, his protector, and she was fighting her way to get to him because he had been locked up in this place.
And I think this is the big room with the door in it, isn't it?
Yeah, this is the big door with an intricate lock to never be able to get down there.
Yeah, so I was like, okay, this is going to be the puzzle where you have to pull the one crank and it moves the top and bottom, but then if you pull this other crank, it puts the top one back over, and then the middle one retracts. You have to pull them in the right order till they're all gone. Yep. And I was like, oh, no, it's not.
It's way easier than that.
It's way easier than that. So, but I did it, and it's like, get Sophia to pull the crank, and then you get Hugo to hold it lock it in place. Then get Sophia to pull the crank. And I'm like, I did it, and I'm like, what the fuck am I missing? Like, why can't I not get this to work? I don't understand. And they did a really bad job of showing you the view that the gate behind you opens up. So there's a side alcove you can go into to pull out a cart, because I did it like 3 times. And then I was like, what am I missing? And I'm like, oh, it opened a side door for me. So then as soon as I found this cart, I was like, oh, you can shoot it's like one of those posts for doing the grappling hook conveniently.
Yeah.
And you can use it to grapple hook to the brake and have it pull the brake down or whatever.
Yeah.
But also when I'm doing it, the game glitched a bit, so I thought I was on the right path because I had Sophia do it and they lock it over here.
Mm-hmm.
Then I have Sophia pull it and then I pull the lever. And then I looked over and I told Sophia to cancel what she was doing and it stayed locked into place over there because Hugo's holding the brake.
Yeah.
So I let mine go and it didn't go back.
Oh.
So I'm like, okay, I did it. And I ran over to the wheel and I was like, I can't do anything with this wheel. Like, what am I missing? So then I was like, okay, whatever. I went back and I pulled down the brake to lock it into place and the pegs came back out to lock it into place.
Mm-hmm.
And then I let the thing go and then the locks retracted. So I was like, oh, it was like a visual glitch. So I was like, thought I was on the right path because it didn't go back and like reset.
Yeah.
So I wasted more time because of that. This game is way glitchier than the first one.
Oh yeah, for sure. It was funny too. Like before I got to this room, I was like, you know what? I don't know, man. This game, they've taken out any element where you actually have to get Hugo to do anything at this time. And then this was right before this room, and then I was like, oh.
A couple times. I remember sending Hugo through a crack in a wall to open a door.
Yeah, it's few and far between your interactions like that with Hugo.
Is it better or worse than in the first one where it's like, Hugo, hit the brake on that, like the friggin' water wheel, and he pulls the brake and he somehow can stop like this crazy water wheel and stuff.
That was a little far-fetched, but still the amount of times that you're using Hugo as your companion here rather than just a guy who's your brother who's holding your hand.
I think maybe that's a choice they made intentionally because it's every time it's just like Hugo's like, everyone dies because of me. I'm useless. I'm a piece of shit. And I'm like, yeah, you are a piece of shit. So maybe it's intentional to be like, yeah, he is useless and he's just causing trouble for basically no reason. Because at this point, Amicia may as well be carrying around a huge piece of uranium.
Kinda, eh?
So anyways, we get through there and then we get into, like, how long do you think it took him to build this temple? Like 1,000 years?
1,000 years for sure.
Like, then there's a giant pit with stairs and doors, side doors and shit.
No, this is the giant pit with the bridge.
Oh, the bridge, yes. So this is where I discovered something that I didn't remember or know about, where it was like, oh, this probably would have helped me earlier in the game. Because you get to a point where you have to get through the rats to get a stick.
Yeah.
So this whole thing is you pull the crank, or you hit a crank, a bridge comes up.
Most of a bridge comes up.
And there's a few pieces that are stuck down. So we have to figure out how to get the rest of the pieces up so Hugo and Sophia can cross. And we have to fall down into the rats to look around. So we get down there and you break a chain and then the bridge piece goes up and you have to get your way through to the next chain piece. And there's like, you can see there's a brazier you can light. You light that, you drop down. And I thought the stack of sticks was just hay. Mm-hmm. So at first I was like, oh, let me hit it with the...
Yeah, I thought it was hay as well.
The ignifier. It'll light on fire or whatever. So I'm like, okay, that didn't work. So then I'm like, well, what do I do next? So I'm like, okay, I'll draw the rats away so I can get a stick. So I use the Noxium or whatever, and I do it. And some of the rats go, but they don't all go.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, maybe if I do it in a different spot. And then some of the rats go, but they don't all go. And I'm like, what the fuck am I supposed to do here? So then I'm like, okay, let me see. I'll throw a pot. Mm-hmm. And it burns all the rats. They get scared away. But then when the fire starts to go out, you don't have enough time to get through. So I died. And then I'm like, well, let me shoot a crossbow bolt over there. So I shoot a crossbow bolt. And then it's like, well, they're kind of not... The rats are kind of away from where I need to go. And it's like, well, let me have to use the Noxium to draw the rest away. And then some of the rats go... So I died like 4 times here. I'm like, fuck, what am I doing wrong here? I'm trying Noxium bolts and like all sorts of shit. And then I was getting frustrated. So it'd be like, okay, I'd light the brazier on fire and then I'd jump down and then I'd like shoot a crossbow bolt over. And then I would like try to switch over to Noxium and I accidentally switched to the tar and I threw the tar at the arrow and it just like went and made this giant light and scared all the rats away. And I was like, is that what I was supposed to do?
That would have made things easier.
Yeah. And then it cleared a path. You ran over, you grab the stick, and you come back. And I was like, oh my fucking God. I wish I would have remembered that tar would like make a fire go uncontrollable.
I didn't have that. I didn't have a problem there.
So how did you get through?
I can't remember how I did it, but I did shoot the arrow over there. And I think I just, I don't know what I think I used a pot to go and grab the other sticks.
Yeah. So that was the other thing too, is like one of the times I finally got through, I grabbed the stick, but then when I went over to the fire, I hadn't lit the fire on. I hadn't lit it remotely.
Oh, yeah.
So I almost made it to the brazier, and then it went out and I died. So then I was getting really frustrated. And that's when I accidentally threw the tar at the thing. And it was just like, wow, this is a game changer. So then on the way to the end where you have to push the cart and you can see treasures off to the side, it was just like, use a tar on the thing I'm pushing. The light's so huge, just walk over, get the treasure, come back to the cart, push it along, walk over, get the treasure.
Yeah,
so then I was like,
that treasure.
So then I was like, is that what I could have done earlier in the game where I was setting guys on fire? Could I have hit them with tar afterwards and then they would have just burnt to death? Because I hit them with tar first.
No, that won't work. Okay. I don't think that'll work because I've done it before and it doesn't work. And there's a skill you unlock that'll makes it so if you throw a tar and no, you can make a pot that explodes and kills guys.
Okay. Anyways, yeah, I got all the treasure in there because I was like, I would just kept lighting the brazier with the tar and it was just like a super blinding light. And Amicia is just like, oh my God, like blocking her hands. But if you told her to push the cart, she just would be like, no problem, and push it, even though it was like exploding in her face.
Yeah, so now we're in the tower that just goes down and it's just full on rat nest.
Yeah.
And when you get down to the bottom, you find Basilius. His body has been completely rat nested and he's just hanging from 2 pillars and chains. It's a really cool set piece.
It's a cool set piece.
Very Geiger-esque.
As we were coming down and Hugo's like, I don't want to go. And then you have to carry Hugo. I could see like through the cracks of the wall. I'm like, what's that throbbing down there?
There's a lot of throbbing.
It's like, this isn't good. So there's like rat boils that are throbbing with rats swimming in goo or something like that.
Yeah.
I don't even know.
When we get down to the bottom and Basilius is there, I'm pretty sure we discovered that this is the birthplace of the rats. This is where they're coming from. This is like the whole the crux of the.
I don't know. When we found all the designs and stuff earlier, they were like talking about how there was like different ones in like Asia and Africa and shit like that. So I'm wondering if there's just a bunch of different ones. Like if we would have found our way down deeper under the castle in France, like would there have been like a rat
breeding ground?
Yeah.
This is probably, there might have been, but this is probably the original because Basilius is the first.
Yeah.
The first carrier. And so I think they couldn't control him, so they locked him up and this is where it happened.
Yeah. The door was to keep the rats in, not the rats out.
Yeah.
But obviously it doesn't matter about the door because the rats just destroy the temple.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
oh, yeah.
They could have got out at any time. So we have to do a Crash Bandicoot run up to get out.
When I walk around, I press forward on the left stick and I look around to move my character with the right. So I adjust the camera and then the character follows, right? Whereas...
Generally.
Yeah, generally. But here, you can't do that. So the first half of the run, you can do it. The second half of the
run, you're running towards the camera?
Not when you're going through the camera, when you're running away. So when you're running up the stairs, you have camera control. And then all of a sudden it takes it away from you without any cutscene or anything. It just takes it away from you.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you have to move left and right with the left stick. And I was like, why am I keep running into walls? Why won't the camera move? I'm like, what the frig is going on?
Oh, yeah.
And so I died at every checkpoint. Every little checkpoint bit in this run just because of that. Because it kept like doing it back and forth. Be like, camera control, no camera control, camera control, no camera control.
I did die a couple times just because I got too close to the rats as they came out of the ground.
Yeah.
But I didn't have that problem anyways. So I don't know. I wasn't trying to, at least when you were running towards the camera, I definitely wasn't trying to control the camera because obviously
you can't.
That was a fixed view.
Yeah.
But and I think any of those chase scenes, they're a fixed view, so I don't think you can control the camera in any of them.
Not some of them. This one you could, like at the start and halfway through.
I don't remember.
I
don't remember.
Yeah, no, I don't think any of them else are.
Yeah.
But I didn't think that this was going to be a chase scene at the start.
When they were like, start running up the hill.
I was like, all right, well, let's just get out of here. But nope, chasing.
Okay.
For sure.
Yeah, so then we get out, the temple's destroyed, and Sophia's like, yeah, we got a boat to get to. Let's get out of here. And that's the end of the chapter.
Yep.
No killing in this one. It was fine as a chapter. Yeah. It was whatever.
This whole game is turning into it's just okay.
Yeah, the first one was way better.
Yes.
This one probably looks better graphically. But yeah. I don't know. Like walking around the village and everything was nice in springtime and everything.
Yeah. No, it looks great.
Looked really nice.
Yeah, the set pieces are really nice in this one.
I don't know. The story,
Like I don't know.
Let's just throw Hugo into the ocean.
It's just kind of a story. Like there's no big bad guy. There's
that we know of yet, anyways.
Yeah, that we know of yet. Yeah. And I mean, we're in chapter 12 next.
I mean,
and there's only 16 chapters.
Isn't the bad guy going to be, what's his name, that we fucking sold out after he took us to the island here? Don't you think he's going to come and kill us or try to?
Is he going to be as good as a bad guy as the bishop?
Well, I mean, no, because we haven't heard anything about him.
Yeah.
Or like maybe it's the count and the countess. Like, did they survive? Like, who the fuck knows?
Yeah, I don't know. Like, are they going to be like there's only 4 chapters left.
Is there going to be a bad guy?
Is there going to be a bad guy? Like, what is this storyline even building up to?
Does it need a bad guy?
I don't know if it needs a bad guy, but the way the first one ended with the bad guy, that was pretty epic.
Yeah. It's like totally epic. Game tropey though. Like, yeah, we need the last boss that can summon rat tornadoes.
Yeah, it is game tropey, but like, what is this? What is the ending even building up to?
You fight Hugo.
You fight Hugo at the end.
And he does keep complaining about voices in his head and shit like that. Yeah. So who knows?
Maybe Hugo is the big bad guy.
Well, obviously he's the bad guy. Everybody dies because of him. So like,
anywhere
they should
he goes,
kill him.
Everybody dies.
Just kick him off the boat, throw him into the ocean. Fucking live your life.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Very crazy.